All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to today's video, and that is going to be Tory Lanez's top 10 albums. Now, Tory Lanez is an artist that has a lot of albums in his discography, over 10 that it does include his studio albums plus his mixtapes, which Tory does obviously have a lot of mixtapes. So basically, just to make the list a little bit shorter, I'm just going to be going through my personal top 10 from him. I'll put in a couple honorable mentions, and also the reason why I'm doing this is because I haven't actually listened to every single Tory Lanez project. Mainly, I have not listened to any of the Chicks tapes. Now, for any OG Tory fan, you probably think I'm absolutely insane for never listening, for not listening to any of the Chicks tapes. Now, it's basically just because I got super into Tory Lanez in December of last year, and ever since then, for all of 2026 so far, he's been my most streamed artist. I've had over 1,000 minutes every single month. I basically listen to a little bit of this guy every single day, and he just turned into one of my all-time favorite artists. And basically the story as well of Tory Lanez is he's a guy that I've obviously always known about and had a couple of his songs, a couple of his features, but was a guy I just never really listened to. And then just for whatever reason, I was like, I want to listen to some Tory Lanez. So then I listened to a couple of his albums and just absolutely fell in love, and then just over the span of a couple months, listened to the majority of his discography. And yeah, this guy's literally been my favorite artist this year, my most streamed artist this year, has taken the number 4 spot in my all-time list, and has generally some of my favorite music and some of my favorite albums ever made. So I started listening to music in 2019, and the first song I ever listened to by Tory Lanez was Ferris Wheel featuring Trippie Redd, because Trippie's been my favorite artist since 2020, and I've rocked with him since 2019, and one of my buddies obviously knew this, so he said that I should listen to this song Ferris Wheel, which featured him on it. But my first time ever hearing Tory Lanez was actually, believe it or not, on the song Liddy by Meek Mill featuring Tory Lanez. Now that is hands down one of the greatest trap songs ever made. Like, it's just so fire. Tory Lanez's performance on that song is insane. His chorus is so hype. His verse is amazing. Mixing that up with 2 great Meek Mill verses makes her just one of the best trap songs ever. But yeah, and then after that, it was just a few like features here and there. Obviously, like his features on Sickening by Trippie Redd, Love Letter to You 4, then his feature on Love Letter to You 3. And then also whenever Broken a Minute came out, I fucked with that song. But the big thing that's changed is I used to hate Tory Lanez's R&B voice. Now, I remember the first time I ever heard it, I can't remember what song it is, so if anybody knows, but back in the day, me and my sister, at the end of every year, would always watch these videos of like the most streamed songs of the year. And on one of them, a Tory Lanez song came up, and he was singing in his R&B voice. And I remember just being flabbergasted and being like, why would he want to sound like that? Like, why would anybody want to sound like that? Like, he literally sounds like a girl. And I'm like, why would you want to sound like that? Because obviously I knew who Tory Lanez was, and I couldn't understand why he wanted to sound like that. So, and it was like that for years. And my opinion on it, because even his feature on Diamond Mines by Trippie Redd on Love Letter to You 3, he uses his R&B voice. I didn't rock with it at first. But what honestly changed it for me was whenever Trippie Redd randomly posted the song Hurts Me on his YouTube, which obviously features Tory Lanez using his R&B voice. And then whenever I listened to that song, I was like, this song is amazing. I love the beat. I love the simplicity of the song. I love like how it's basically just a chorus plays a couple of times. It's just a very simple song. The beat was just really calling to me. And that was honestly what changed my opinion of Tory Lanez's R&B voice. And then obviously after that, got into the song The Color Violet, which everybody knows, everybody loves. And then, like I said, I just randomly one day was like, I want to listen to some more Tory Lanez. And then, yeah, now he's my most streamed artist so far this year, and we're going to finally get started and go into what I consider to be Tory Lanez's 10th best project. All right, so at number 10 is going to be Love Me Now, his 2018 album and his 3rd studio album of his career. Now, this is honestly a pretty weak album. Obviously, you can see here I've given it a 5 out of 10 rating. It also did pretty decent commercially, sold over 50,000, debuted at number 4, I believe, and obviously had a lot of great hits on it. But this is just very much of like a modern rap album where from start to finish, it is not a good album experience. And that is why my rating is so low, is because yes, you get to take out some nice songs, some fun songs, some good tracks, But again, that experience from start to finish, which is what I really look at for an album, it's just not there. This is just a collection of songs thrown together in one thing. There's no cohesion about this project at all. And you can also see that there is a lot of features. Over 10 features on this album. Over half the songs have a feature. And again, it's all just people that were popping off at the time. You got a 2 Chainz feature, Chris Brown, Meek Mill, Rich the Kid, Lil Baby, A Boogie, Trippie Redd, Nav, Gunna, Bryson Tiller, even PNB Rock made the list. Again, just kind of everyone that was popping off at the time. And yes, there's some great tracks on here, but there are also a lot of weak songs. And it's just not a very enjoyable album to listen to from start to finish. Now, besides that, there are some great tracks. So first off, the deluxe added 2 more songs, that being Broke a Leg featuring Tyga and Quavo, which I don't really fuck with, but it was a pretty decent hit. But then the other song that was added, which I do have as a top 3, which is, of course, Freaky, which most people know. This song is one of Tory's better-known songs, one of his most streamed as well, and it's just an absolute banger. Like the chorus, whenever that chorus comes on, can't really say it, but, he's like, I'm a rich-ass dude, you're a broke-ass dude. Like how freaky it gets. It's just, again, it's just such a fun and such a chill banger of a song. But getting into the actual track list of the main album, the intro, Why Don't You Love Me, is definitely a standout and a highlight for this track list. Such a great way to start off the album. I love Tory Lanez is generally one of the best artists at intros. Like basically all of his intros are some of his best songs ever and are usually one of the best songs, if not the best song on the album. And that's definitely the case here. This, obviously, I have it in the top 3. It is one of the only few songs I actually go back to from this album. And Why Don't You Love Me is a big standout. This is a great rapping performance, a great chorus on there. And also just the format of the song and the way that it flows is very unorthodox, but it also works. And that's, again, the great thing is when you do something different, it actually works. But yeah, just great rapping from Tory on this song. Follows it up with She Told Me, which is a pretty decent banger. But then you just get into where it's just on and off, right? Like Duck My Ex isn't really that good. Drip, Drip, Drip with Meek Mill is okay. Obviously does not compare at all to Liddy. Talk to Me with Rich the Kid, obviously one of the biggest bangers off the album. I believe it's the most streamed song. I don't really rock with it, though. But then when you get to track number 8, which is, of course, Ferris Wheel featuring Trippie Redd, the first official Tory Lanez song I ever listened to. Trippie carries the song 100%. It is, in my opinion, his second best feature and just one of Trippie Redd's best performances ever. Now, it is obviously a very, they're talking about, girls getting on their hands and knees like a dog. And they ain't really saying much with this song. They're just rapping about women. But I don't care because Trippie's voice sounds absolutely amazing on this. I love rapping to this song. Tory has a great verse to complement the track as well, but Trippie Redd 100% steals the show on this song, being hands down one of his best performances and, in my opinion, his second best feature ever. And then, again, back into the track list, just not much that really I go back to. The Runoff, pretty decent, but other than that, again, there's really only 3 songs I'd be going back to, which is Freaky, Why Don't You Love Me, and Ferris Wheel. The odd time, maybe I'll listen to The Runoff or She Told Me or Drip, Drip, Drip. But again, 5 out of 10 because, yes, there's some good songs on it. Yes, there's some hits, there's some bangers, but just that overall album experience is just not there. So at the number 9 spot is going to be the first appearance of Tory Lanez's iconic mixtape series, The New Toronto, and this one being The New Toronto 2, coming in at number 9. With a 6 out of 10 rating. Now, this, in my opinion, is the weakest of the 3 New Toronto series, and we're going to basically get into why. Obviously, the New Toronto series is big for those OG Tory Lanez fans, and this mixtape was also just recently released on DSPs back in 2025 alongside the New Toronto 1. So again, great for those OG Tory Lanez fans to get these finally on streaming. Obviously, originally released in 2017. And again, it's decent, but again, similar to Love Me Now, just start to finish, just kind of a lot of lackluster songs on here. Like, you have some decent ones. It's just, overall, it's just, there's good tracks, but there's also bad ones. So basically, we'll get into it right off the bat now. The intro to this album, Talk to Me Nice / Fargo Season, is one of my favorite Tory Lanez songs and hands down his hardest song ever. I cannot explain to you how much I love this song and how turned up I get to this song every single time I listen to it. I've been bumping this song so much recently, and again, just another example of Tory Lanez's amazing ability at making intros to albums and mixtapes. And this song is 6 minutes long, and Tory is literally rapping his ass off for 6 minutes. That opening verse is insane, but just sets the scene what's about to come. And then we get the chorus, right? Never do we get the time, but rarely do we get the time, but tonight feels right, is awesome. And then his 2 verses in the middle of the song are absolutely insane. The first one is amazing, and then that second verse, when that second verse comes in, where he's like the Blue Jays, New Toronto, we ballin' on your Blu-ray, stashing all the dirty money in the suitcase. Like, that is my favorite verse of the song, one of the hardest verses I've ever heard in my life. And then we get that chorus again, it gets chill for a little bit. Tory Lanez comes in with his R&B voice, which I love when he mixes his rap voice and his R&B voice in the same song. And then he starts rapping again when we get into that Fargo season part. And then that beat kicks in, and again, he just finishes off that song on such a great verse, on such a high note, all around, such an amazing song. And again, 6 minutes long. Like, I am not a fan of long songs, because for a song, like, if it's a long song, you have to keep me engaged. You know, like, it's tough to, like, keep me engaged on a 5+ minute song where Tory Lanez keeps you engaged with the entire song. It is, again, just hands down his hardest song ever, one of my personal favorites, easily a top 3 to top 5 Tory Lanez song ever. And so glad that this got added to streaming, because again, if I had never learned about this song, if it never got added to streaming, I would not know that this song existed. And it is just one of the greatest songs ever. And I'm working towards memorizing the whole thing. I'm pretty decent there. I think I would say I'm about like 2/3 to 3/4 got the song down pat. So yeah, I absolutely love it. And honestly, this is generally like the only song I go back to off the mixtape. Like, there are other decent ones. Ball Harbor featuring A$AP Ferg is not bad at all. Dope Man Go is great. Obviously, it's just called Dope Man on streaming, but originally was titled Dope Man Go. That is a great song for sure. Bodmon's song is one of the more popular, well-known songs from this mixtape. I'm not a big fan of it. And then after that, again, like, there's decent songs, like Bartenders and Spenders is not bad. Super Freak with Rick Ross is all right. Anyways, okay. But again, just not a lot from this mixtape that really grabbed my eye. Like, basically the reason it's over Love Me Now is because of Talk to Me Nice last Fargo season. Like, again, generally Tory's best song, like his hardest song ever, best rapping performance in his discography. And that single song is literally the reason why it's at number 9. So again, I'm sure that there's some fans out there who absolutely love these mixtapes and love this OG type of Tory Lanez. Obviously, I love it too. Again, performances like Talk to Me Nice is exactly why I have fallen in love with Tory Lanez and why I rock with this guy so much, because that's my favorite type of rap right there. Again, I love when Tory sings. I love the R&B. I love the melodic shit. But again, when you go off like how he does on Talk to Me Nice, you just can't compare to it. Other than that, there's not really much else for me to dive into on this mixtape. I probably do need to go and revisit this mixtape again from start to finish. But for now, I'm just going to keep rocking with Talk to Me Nice. And we'll move on to number 8. At number 8 is going to be another New Toronto, this one being the New Toronto 3. Released in April of 2020. This was Tory Lanez's final project release under Interscope Records before he went back to being an independent artist. Now, this was when Tory Lanez was at the height of his mainstream popularity. 2019 had his best-selling project ever with Chicks Tape 5 selling over 80,000 first week. This being the New Toronto 3 being his second best, selling over 60,000 first week. Now, this was a great project for Tory to release because it did have some absolute bangers from it, and it is definitely better, in my opinion, than the New Toronto 2 because there is just better tracks throughout it. It is the longest track list of the 3, with this one having 16 songs in it. So it's getting towards being longer, but 16 is kind of the max before I would start calling a project long. A lot of good tracks in here. With the intro, Pricey and Spicy is a pretty decent one. Again, doesn't compare to some of his other intros, but still not bad at all. The Coldest Playboy is a pretty short song, but again, I think it just works coming in after the intro. And then obviously track number 3, one of the biggest hits off of this being Stupid Again. This song literally makes you go stupid. Super energetic and aggressive performance from Tory on this one. Again, just that chorus, I'm just going, about to go stupid again. Like it's absolutely fire. And then Accidents Happen with Lil TJ is a pretty decent banger. Obviously, the single Broke in a Minute, absolute banger. Rock with this song when he first dropped it. Didn't obviously listen to the project originally, but this was a song I was rocking with a lot. And then obviously two other big bangers from this mixtape would be Who Needs Love and Do the Most. Who Needs Love being a more melodic track, Do the Most being a more rap-focused track. Obviously, Trippie Redd's Who Needs Love is a lot better than Tory's, but it is still a pretty decent song. Do the Most is a banger as well. And then the back end of the track list, don't really revisit this that much, but there's still some decent songs like Letter to My City, Message for God's Children, Back in Business, that sort of stuff. But again, all around, this was a good mixtape for the times because, again, it just performed really well commercially, had a lot of good hits. But again, I just take those few songs from it, and this is definitely the New Toronto that I revisit the least out of the three. Still pretty decent all around. But yeah, definitely those standout tracks would be ones like Stupid Again and Broke in a Minute. But yeah, we'll move on to the next one. All right, and that number 7 is going to finish the run of the New Toronto mixtape series, that being the original, the New Toronto, released in December of 2015, actually on Christmas 2015, so a nice Christmas present for those OG Tory Lanez fans. Now, this is, my opinion, is definitely the best New Toronto, being the most concise of the bunch, having just 11 tracks on it. And I'm also pretty sure this is the mixtape that Tory was talking about in his song Loners Boulevard on I Told You, where he says, I'm heading downtown because I'm working on this little mixtape, no fillers, no throwaway songs. Also makes sense being just 11 songs on here, so it's pretty hard to have fillers and throwaways on an 11-song mixtape. So I'm pretty sure this is what he was talking about because it was obviously released before that song came out. But actually getting into the mixtape, again, definitely my favorite. It is the most concise of the lot. And it gets off again with a great start. Machiavelli is an insane intro and an insane song. Again, I love the unorthodoxness about this song and just the energy Tory has in this song. When they go, remember me like motherfucking Machiavelli. The horns on this song, then when he's like bandana around my head like I'm Machiavelli. The chorus is great, 2 great verses in there as well. This is just hands down my favorite song off of this mixtape, sorry. And then I'm just trying to find it. All right, so I'm pretty sure he has a line about the governor from The Walking Dead where he says, yeah, okay, all I want that pit, shit hopping in it like the governor. I'm pretty sure he's talking about the governor from The Walking Dead because I don't know who else he'd be talking about. Like, who else goes by the name the governor and would be kind of well known? Like, unless you're talking about, like, the governor of Toronto or something. Like, I'm pretty sure he's talking about the governor from The Walking Dead. So, again, that'd be pretty sick if he is. In my mind, he 100% is. But, yeah, just such an energetic song. And again, those horns on this track, man, oh my God. And I remember my first time listening to it, I was like, this is so like, not weird, but this is just different. And I liked it, you know? And again, just absolute banger, hands down my favorite song from this mixtape. Then he follows it up with New Toronto. The way it transitions into this song is so smooth. Like, you don't even know that the New Toronto starts when it starts playing. This is a good song, but I feel like the first half of the track is so much better than the second. I feel like you needed to carry that same energy throughout the whole song, and it would have been a lot better for me. Would have had a lot more replay value. Try number 3, Woods, is hands down, like that is the second best song on the album. It's just an absolute banger. It does have this one line where, like, obviously that pickup line, like, are you from like Memphis or whatever? Because you're the only 10 I see. He has like a line about that. He said the way that he says it isn't as cringy as the pickup line. I like the way that he says it in the song. Other Side is a banger. Lord Knows Part 2. Obviously, we all know that song. It's great. Trap House Was Nice is awesome as well. Letter to the City, sorry. But yeah, all in all, definitely my favorite of the New Torontos. Now, I still don't, obviously it's still ranked pretty low, 6.5, but I honestly don't even rock with the New Torontos that much. Like, as a whole, like, again, got some great standout tracks from it. Some of Tory's best songs in his discography. But as a whole, I just don't personally rock with them from start to finish as much as others do. This one's definitely my favorite, again, just because it's the shortest track list, it's the most concise, it's the most focused. But still a lot of room for improvement and still a lot to be desired, in my opinion. So we shall move on to the next one. And at number 6, don't know if this is going to be controversial or not. Definitely some recency bias involved in here. But that is Tory Lanez's most recent album, LOL Slutty Bass, released this past April in 2026. And this is honestly my sixth favorite Tory Lanez project. Like, I prefer it over every single one of the ones that I have mentioned so far, and also the ones that have not made this list. This is just such a fun album, and that's it. It is a fun album. It genuinely makes you want to dance. Like, I cannot listen to this album in a public place because I can't stop myself from dancing and from singing along to the song. Like, it is just so much fun. Again, the energy, just, it really gets making you move. Like, I compare this album a lot to Don't Tap the Glass by Tyler, the Creator, because that was what Tyler set out to do, right? He wanted to make music where people could dance to. And although a couple of the tracks from there, maybe want to groove a little bit, a lot of fun songs on that album, comes nowhere near close to how, like, Tory generally makes you want to move. And I don't like dancing. I suck at dancing. I'm not a dancer. And this song makes me want to move. So yeah, heading into it, obviously Tory said that this originally started at sort of like a sequel to Alone at Prom, which would have been titled Together at Prom. But then he said the basses got louder, everything got like moodier, everything got more like sensual in a way, and then Slutty Bass was born. So it started off with him releasing two singles, that being Slide, or SLIDE, and Planet Bass / Nobody Likes Your Boyfriend. Now these, in my opinion, are hands down the two best songs. Slide is hands down the best song. Again, just the beat, the chorus, the verses, his energy throughout that track. Hands down, it is the best. And then Planet Bass / Nobody Likes Your Boyfriend, again, is such a fun song. The way that song starts, dude, oh my God. Again, the energy, it just makes you want to move. The energy at the start of that song, and then it transitions really nicely into the second part being Nobody Likes Your Boyfriend, Don't Bring Him Through. He's so annoying. Again, very basic stuff, but it's an absolute banger. Now, starting off with my main criticism about this album and why I have it at 6.8 and not a 7 is because every single song sounds the same. Like, I'm going to come out and say it. Every single song sounds the same. And this isn't just a thing of like where if you're not a fan of an artist, you'll say that all their songs sound the same, right? People always say, oh, every Pop Smoke song sounds the same. Every Playboi Carti song, every Gunna song. I mean, every Gunna song does sound the same. But it's not like that. It's just literally the thing. Like, I'm listening to this album and I'm like, all these songs are the exact same. Like, they have the exact same format. Again, the beat will start off super slow right at the start, and then it'll just hit, right? Then it'll just drop, and then that bass comes in, and it's just the same. The content matter is all the same. Again, he's just rapping about sex the entire time throughout this mixtape or album, whatever it is. So again, that's like my main criticism, is that every single song sounds the same, but it's just such a fun album, and there are some absolute great tracks on here. So the intro obviously being the lead-in single Slide, the best song in my opinion. That follows up with Balma's Patience, which Tory Lanez did say on his Instagram is his favorite song on the album. I don't like this one that much. I think it's a little bit boring, a little bit too repetitive, and too long as well. If it was a little bit shorter, I think I would rock with it, but I just find it, again, too long and too boring. Gets back on track with track number 3, Aggression from Saturn. This song is an absolute banger. That chorus is infectious, man. It's so freaking catchy. When that chorus comes in, man, again, you already know I'm moving. The one thing with this song, though, is I do find it sounds quite similar to Distance off of Playboy, especially that chorus is quite similar to the chorus on the song. The way that the beat kind of chills and then he smooths out his vocals a little bit reminds me a lot of that song. Obviously, we spoke about Planet Bass already. Then Wong Tong Soup, probably the worst song on this album, I can't lie. Again, I like the way Tory starts, where he's like, Drake once said, where the fuck the function? I say, where the fuck the Wong Tong? Again, it's funny, but this song's not that good. And then you get a stretch of songs that I don't really rock with, that being Pink Material, Keys to Vampa, The Hate of Friends, and SMO. Don't go back to any of these songs. Again, there's nothing wrong with them. They're decent songs, but again, I just think that there's better ones off this album. But then after that run of songs, you get a run of great songs. So next up being Jane's Cotton Candy. Now, this is my 4th favorite song. After the ones I already mentioned being Slide, Planet Bass, and Aggression Saturn, this comes in at number 4. Jane's Cotton Candy is so good. So yeah, Jane's Cotton Candy is an absolute banger. That's followed up with Krillin's Fumble. Now, this song starts with like a little skit of like a commentator basically saying that Fargo, aka Tory Lanez, fumbles the ball and costs his team the game, and saying like, I don't know how he's ever going to come back from this. And the song basically just goes into fumbling a girl, which you already know that this song hits me hard because y'all know I fumbled a lot of girls in my time. So the song hit me very hard. But nah, yeah, basically just saying the chorus is in. I just don't know what to do. I'm still in love with you. It's a banger. Again, just a fun song, awesome song. Followed up with Fine Shit Paradise, which again, not as strong as the last two I mentioned, but still pretty decent. That's followed up though with probably, in my opinion, the best chorus on the album, that being Nobody Land. Now, the chorus is very simple, with Tory just saying, now you're nobody, over and over again. But again, it's just the way that he says it, very infectious, very catchy. The only thing though is in the latter part of the song, he puts these like very deep vocal effects on his voice. I'm not the biggest fan of that. It doesn't take away from the song at all. Like, it's not unlistenable. Again, I would have just liked that to have been maybe mellowed a little bit or just keep using his normal voice. But other than that, again, in my opinion, probably the best chorus on the album. And then that's followed up with the penultimate song on the album, that being Best Birthday Ever. Now, this song is like, you're only going to listen to the song on your birthday. Like, this is not that good of a song. Again, I think it's like tied for the worst song with Wonton Soup. Again, bump it on your birthday because it's fun. Other than that, there's no other reason to go back to that song. And then the outro is Party for Martians. Now, I do really like this song because it's a little bit different from the other songs. It's not as similar. Like, when this one came on, you realize right away, okay, it's a little bit different. So I absolutely love the chorus on it. She called me the CEO. Girl, what's the dealio? Again, it's so stupid, but like, I love it. And I can't, anytime someone says CEO, I just think of this song now. Again, super catchy, super fun song. Again, a good outro to the album because, again, it is that little bit different, but still has all the same elements that the other songs had. And yeah, overall, again, it's just a very fun album. And it's one of those albums where I go back to about half of the songs, and that's exactly what you need. Like, I'm never going to listen to this album from start to finish again because you only need to listen to 7 or 8 songs from it. Because, again, you listen to the 7 or 8 songs that I like, and then you don't need to listen to the other ones. Where, again, I'm not going to listen to a Pink Material or a Keys to Vampa because there's an Aggression from Saturn. There's a Jane's Cotton Candy. I'm not going to listen to Bulma's Patience because there's a Slide. I'm not going to listen to Wonton Soup because there's a Fine Shit Paradise. That's that kind of thing where it's like you take the good songs from it and then you don't really need to listen to the bad songs. And you still kind of get that same sort of album experience out of it. So, again, that's why, again, I don't want to have it at a 7 out of 10 just because low-key every song does sound the same. But again, it's just one of those where it's not a full album experience. It's like a half album experience. But yeah, definitely some recency bias putting it at number 6. But again, I really rock with this album. It's the first album that I listened to on release date by Tory Lanez. So I'm very excited for all the future albums he's going to be making. But yeah, without further ado, we'll head into the top 5. And at number 5 is going to be Tory Lanez's 2022 album, Sorry for What. Now, this is the first Tory Lanez album I listened to from start to finish, and I am not mad at that at all, because if you can see by my top 3 favorite songs on this album, they are the top 3, they are the first 3 songs to appear on this album. So the intro is, of course, one of Tory Lanez's best intros and best songs in his career, and that is, of course, Sorry for What / Louis V. Belt. Now, this is just, oh my God, like, this is just a banger. Tory Lanez's opening verse is insane, but it starts off with a intro from Tory where he uses R&B voice where he says, I'm not trying to be here for a long time, just a good time. And then he goes, I got a lot of shit weighing on my mind. So again, is he, referencing the whole court case that's going on right now? Because obviously a few months after this would release, he would indeed get sentenced to 10 years in prison. Now, Tory Lanez's verse, his opening verse on this song is one of his best. Again, just the energy, the aggression in that verse is insane and is absolutely unmatched. I can rap this word for word, which I can confidently say. And then my favorite part, though, is, again, that beat switch. And then he starts it off again with his R&B voice where he's like, I've had way too much to drink. 1942, it ain't on me, sing to 5. Ex calling up my phone, fucking up the vibe. Tonight's not the night. And then he's like, yeah, fuck that bitch. Hop on the couch, take me a flick. Louis V. Belt. And then him just saying Louis V. Belt over and over again to end the song is absolutely insane. And this is one of the things that I absolutely loved about this album is Tory incorporating his rap voice and his R&B voice in the same song. I absolutely love when he does that because, again, I'm a sucker for his R&B voice now, and I love his rapping voice. So, again, when he combines those two in the same song, it is absolutely insane. So, yeah, hands down my favorite song on this album, one of my personal favorites from Tory, one of his best intros and just one of his best songs, one of his hardest songs in general. Then he follows it up with Bad Bitches Work at Taboo, which is just one of the biggest bangers I've ever heard in my life. Like, oh my God, this song is insane. I absolutely love it. And I relate to it a lot because the opening line of the chorus is, and you know I got a thing for a curly-headed chick. Loki had a thing with a curly-headed chick. So you know I was rocking this song all the time back then. And yeah, it's just such a banger of a track. And then my favorite part of it is the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus is the greatest thing ever, where he goes, she's feeling free, so she let the curls out the house, and she finally got the girls out. Go and poke it out, shawty, let it twirl out the house, and she finally got it out. And then it goes into the chorus, you know, I got a thing for a curly-headed chick. When I'm eating out in Taboo in Miami, girl, you know I got to pull up in that wide booty thing. You can't park by no range. Like, oh, dude, it's just, it's that pre-chorus, man. Every time that comes on, I just get so turned up. Goes into that chorus beautifully, man. And again, I just love when he says, like, she got the curls out finally at the house, and she got the girls out. Oh my God, it's absolutely insane. And then he follows it up with Where to Start, which has like the hardest beat switch I've ever heard in my life. So the opening part of the track is a banger, not as much of a banger as Bad Bitches, for example. But again, Where to Start starts off, you know, pretty simple, throwing out the little Tories here and there. But then what really gets it going is the bridge and then the beat switch. So again, that the beat like cuts and Tori comes in with the D voice, who's like, she just want to show them other bitches that she snatched. And then he comes in with his R&B voice, and this is just the greatest thing ever. When he says in his R&B voice, he's like, that's why we're creeping on the low with her. I know that you think I'm just the homie. I'm hopping off the dresser, hitting the floor with her. She calling her bro, she like, what? Telling you that she with the homies, but if I was you, I would come get her. Because when she say the homies, that means just me. And then it just hops into that verse, to his fourth verse, which is one of the hardest verses I've ever heard in my life. And the guy's literally just rapping about sex. I don't care, bro. Like, I go so hard on the car to this song, man. Like, where do you even start with this? Again, opening line is fucking fire. She wanna fuck, man, but I'm your man. So what does that mean? Like, oh my God. And he's like, bitches want to tell you about my cuts off, like I'm maxing, obviously, you know, talking about his you know what. Running through all the hoe and her friends, like the track team. Now fucking friends together, baby. They a tag team. Yeah, I don't care if they square or they flat screen. I've been out here making movies, bitch. I ain't no sad scenes. Then he comes back in. Gun is dirty than that bitch, but my rack's clean. Yeah, I got a bitch, pussy nice, but she act mean. Fucking on her friends put me in. That's a tag team. Yeah, and of course, love the bitch on all fours, like a dick with force. French little bitch say bonjour. She got no remorse. All my bitches rich. They don't wear no Michael Kors. Like, oh my God. And then he comes back in with the outro where he says a rendition of the chorus from the main song in his R&B voice. And again, it's just so hard. Now, that's definitely the highlight. Those first three tracks, again, my favorite three songs, my favorite run of 3 tracks on an album ever. Like, I just love those 3 songs. Back in January of this year, I actually listened to Sorry for What 30 times. And I think it was like February or March, where again, those 3 songs were my most streamed, where I had like upwards of 20 plays for each of the songs. Haven't been bumping them as much recently, but again, like once or twice a week, I'll be bumping those 3 songs. So again, there's still like a lot of great tracks that come off here. Sex Songs is one that's just R&B with his R&B voice. Again, it's pretty decent. One of the more streamed songs from the album, but I don't personally go back to it all that much. Hennessy Memories, though, is a great track where, again, he combines his rap voice with his R&B voice. He sings 2 great verses in his rap voice and then has a melodic chorus in the R&B voice, which is awesome. Then he has Not Tricking / Black Keys, which I fuck with a lot. I do find it's pretty similar to the song Where to Start, though. And then you get a couple kind of mid tracks. YDS, This Ain't Working, Hurting Me. Then it gets back on track with track number 10, Why Did I? Absolute banger. Like, why did I bring her outside? But then that's followed up with one of the biggest bangers ever. That, of course, being No More Parties in LA. Now, just to put it out there, of course, Kanye West song of the same name absolutely washes this song. But this is just a party banger, dude. Again, this is such a unique song with that beat. The way that he starts it off and then switches it up. And then he's like, I don't want to party in LA no more. All that is just, it's absolutely great. And then after that, again, the second half of the track list is very weak for me. Once I got to that point, I generally felt myself starting to get tired of listening to this album. So after track number 11 being, of course, No More Parties in LA, which is an absolute banger, the only other song after that I go back to is the song Understand, which is a chill banger. And that song also has a rendition of the chorus on Pound Cake by Drake, where he says cake multiple times, obviously quoting Jay-Z's chorus from that song. Then also in No More Parties in LA, he has a rendition of part of Eminem's song where he's like, these bitches, they come, they go, Saturday through Friday. Like, anyway, then he starts saying the days of the week, which obviously Eminem originally said that, I believe. And I think Drake says it in one of his songs too. And then obviously Tory Lanez says it in this one. But yeah, again, just that second half of the track list just really kind of falls off for me. And then the outro, The Vent, is pretty decent. I don't go back to it, but still a pretty decent song. I do have one line. My laptop just died, so I can't pull up the lyrics. But it was some like saying that I sound like all these different rappers, but how can I sound like them when they all sound different? It was like some along those lines. But it was, again, The Vent is a pretty decent track where, again, he's just kind of venting. But again, I would give this album a 7 out of 10 because the album experience is a little better. Again, it's a very versatile project and it has so many bangers from it and so many songs that I go back to very frequently. Again, it has literally like my favorite run of first 3 songs on an album ever. But again, just when you get to that second half of the track list, like I just felt myself getting tired listening to it. And again, it's just very similar to like a Love Me Now, where again, this is just a collection of songs, you know, there's no cohesion, there's no theme, it's just 20 songs thrown together on a project. And again, it warrants its spot on at number 5 and warrants that 7 out of 10 rating just because it has so many bangers. Where again, you compare it to a Love Me Now, there's like 3 songs I generally go back to, where on this one, there's 8 to 10 songs where I generally go back to. I mean, more like 8 songs that I go back to a lot, and then like 4 or 5 I'll be bumping all the time, and then another 4 or 5 that I bump every now and then. But yeah, again, first Tory Lanez album I ever listened to from start to finish, so it always has that kind of nostalgia to it. And again, just that opening 3 songs, being Sorry for What, Bad Bitches Work at Taboo, and Where to Start, like generally just earns its spot at number 5. And now we will move on to number 4. All right, and at number 4 is going to be Tory Lanez's 2021 mixtape, Playboy. Now, this is hands down the most toxic project ever made by anybody. Now, I know everybody says that Future is the most toxic rapper. No, dude. Tory Lanez is Future on steroids when it comes to toxicity. This man is absolutely toxic, and this album, again, is the most toxic thing I've ever listened to in my life, and I absolutely love it. So obviously 2021 was a big R&B year for Tory Lanez, and he started off with this album, and of course the album starts off with arguably Tory Lanez's greatest ever song, that of course being And This Is Just the Intro. Now, before we get into the song, I always found it a little bit kind of funny because it's called And This Is Just the Intro. So basically saying that like, this is just the intro, like there's going to be going through so much more stuff. But like, this is hands down the best song on the mixtape. Again, I think everybody can agree on that. And it's also low-key Tory Lanez's best song. So again, it's just funny that like his arguably best song, but definitely best song on the mixtape is called And This Is Just the Intro. I also thought that was a little bit funny. But getting into it, this is, again, easily the most toxic song ever made. And I absolutely love it. And you literally know what you're getting into with the opening line of the song being, I hope you find somebody more toxic. That's literally the opening line of the song in the mixtape. I hope you find somebody more toxic. And y'all go through way more arguments than we did. Y'all go through way more arguments than needed. You better give him the same fucking treatment. I know it's just the intro and this shit get deep, but I've got my reasons. So again, Tory's opening verse basically just talking about how he made this girl perfect for somebody else. Like he made her perfect and now she's with somebody else. Has a quick rendition to the chorus, obviously being come and see me, bitch. And then we get a little bit of a beat cut and then it swaps into where like kind of like the official actual song starts. Comes in with a bit of a shorter verse, like part 2 of the song with the intro, and then comes into the chorus. Of course, I'm just saying come and see me. If it's on the gram, on the TV, gonna see me. Obviously very similar to the song Come and See Me by Party Next Door featuring Drake. However, this song absolutely wipes that song. Oh my God, it absolutely wipes it. But then we get into the verse of part 2, which is my favorite verse of all time. Again, I love this verse from start to finish. Every single word on this verse is fucking perfection. And there's also a line that I think is the greatest line ever. and is the most relatable thing ever and the most toxic thing ever. So let's get into it. He starts off the verse with, "What's it hidden for? I'm toxic, you know it. Even your friends say I'm not shitting, you know it. She helps with my double R, she'd rather cry tears in the stars. And she know them other guys in the double R are doing it like us." And then the song really picks up when he goes, "Liquor, I'm gonna sip until I get depressed in this bitch. Then I'm gonna call you right up on the flip. 50 reasons why your man ain't shit. Fuck them dudes if I'm not at the top. I go crazy, I'll make the shit hot. DM your man and blow up your spot. Fuck up the relationship that you got." And then right here, this next run of bars here. "Fucked it up, now I'm calling you mine. There's no real intention of making you mine. I just don't want to see you with no one else. Like I'm the only one allowed to move on." That right there is the greatest run of bars, the most relatable and the most toxic things ever. Like it's just so relatable. Like, yes, it's so toxic. Nobody's ever gonna admit this, but we all feel this. We all have thought this in our minds. Again, effed it up, now I'm calling you mine. There's no real intention of making you mine. I just don't want to see you with no one else. Like I'm the only one allowed to move on. Like, come on, dude. I relate to that so much. It's so toxic, but again, it's just so facts. And again, Tory Lanez knows it because his next line is, "I'm a fuckboy for saying that's your girl. I know it. I don't deserve you for playing like that. I know it. But through these toxic guys, I see potential. Took advantage of the fact that you gotta run the chorus. Come and see me." An amazing song. It's so toxic. It's so relatable, but it's absolutely amazing. And then he has like his outro where it's like, "Why don't you return my calls, but you don't come see me, blah, blah, blah." Now, what I absolutely love about this album is the first 6 songs flow into each other immaculately. Like every single song flows into it where like you don't even know that the next song started. They all like use elements of the other songs, right? Like they'll use some of the bars and some of the verses and just different elements of it that make it, again, just really like this is a focused album. This is a focused project here. Like Tory had a theme he was going over here. Like he was actually trying to make an experience with this one with, again, all the songs just flowing into each other. And again, Extravagant Bitches. So then we get into track number 2, Extravagant. I just realized that it's actually Extravagant Bullshit. I thought it was Extravagant Bitches. That's funny. Because on Apple Music, like the B, everything from the B and the T, I think is like all like the star symbol. So that's funny. I always thought it was Extravagant Bitches. It's actually Extravagant Bullshit / Nunchucks. So this is my second favorite song on the mixtape. I absolutely love this song, dude. It's an absolute banger. And again, this song, again, so toxic, but just so freaking valid and fact. So again, it starts off using like a very similar beat. And then we get, again, another 2-parted song on this one. So anyway, we'll dive into it here. So basically, again, gets in on his verse. And then when he says, "Bought this bitch 100 bags," like they don't do the same thing. "Shit don't ever change, don't ever change. Even when I try to change my ways, you're going to stay the same. Then you want to pub bomb me because my feelings, David Blaine." Again, I just think, again, very factual, again, like it's your 100 bags, you're trying to change for her, but she's not doing it back. But then it gets really insane when he says, "How many have bought this bitch a watch and ain't changed shit? How many have bought this bitch a bag and ain't changed shit? How many of us bought this bitch a card and ain't changed shit? Man, it hurts to say, but some of y'all bitches ain't shit." Like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, but some of y'all ain't shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be the one to say it, but some of y'all bitches ain't shit, man. And that's just how it be, in all honesty. And again, like, you already know when it comes down to it, I ain't buying a girl anything till I got a ring on her finger. Like, that's just how it's gonna be with me. But yeah, it's just great stuff there. Sorry for a little bit of a pause, but and then the song just continues to get even more insane. Now his next run of lines is something I've never seen anybody talk about when it came to his, obviously, everything with Megan Thee Stallion, where he says, "I might need some therapy. The last bitch I fucked with lied and tried to publicly embarrass me. So this album will not be about her this time because all the lying that she did fucked with my real bitch." He's literally talking about Megan here. He's talking about Megan here because when he says last bitch I fucked with lied, tried to publicly embarrass me, talking about Megan obviously coming out and saying that Tory Lanez shot her, public embarrassment. So this album will not be about her this time. It's talking about his previous album, Daystar, which was of course his direct response to the Megan Thee Stallion allegations. Then obviously saying that this being his next project is not going to be about her this time because of the line that she did fucked with my real bitch. Again, most likely talking about, I think it's Kelsey, who was the other woman that was involved, who was like quote unquote Tory's real bitch. Then he follows it up with "Big time, this is 6th time I done fucked up. Big lie, got my bitch crying in the tub drunk. She just caught me in 4K getting fucked up. 2 bitches going both ways like some nunchucks." So again, just talking about both Megan and Kelsey in those runs. And then we get the beat switch where it comes in to part 2, that of course being nunchucks, which is, again, he's just rapping about sex. He's rapping about girls who go both ways. Basically meaning that they sleep with both guys and girls. But again, it's just insane. He just has so many great lines, and it's just such a fun song in this one. And then it flows in nicely to her slash Are You Dumb? And again, the intro, again, using elements from, and it's just the intro with obviously, why don't you return my calls? Why you trip out where I be? You don't ever come and see me. But I love how he starts off the first verse literally saying, what you mean that you ain't fucking me no more, little bitch, is you dumb? Again, just super funny. And then also I love his bar where he's like, the only two guys she knows or she wants is Benjamin and Borden. Freaking fire. And then you get the chorus and then the outro, and then you hop into part two, which is Are You Dumb? And then again, he's literally just talking about having sex with like girls and how this like girl doesn't want to have sex with him anymore. But again, it's just super fire and it's just super fun. And then also what I love is at the end of this song, the beat for Distance starts playing. And then when Distance starts, like, you don't even know that the song just started. So the song basically just about Tori talking about how he needs distance from this woman. And I love like his line in the chorus where he's like, I'm on a 12-hour flight with just my feelings. And then my favorite part is the post-chorus where he's like, now all of a sudden, you don't owe me nothing to tell me whoever he is. And he's like, fuck whoever he is. Fuck whoever he is. Yeah, it's just, it's awesome. And again, you know, screaming that in the car is great. And then it flows in nicely to the song The Makeup, which is one I don't go back to often, but again, listening to the album, it's a good song to listen to. Then again, The Lady of Neptune, which is one of the more known songs, more streamed songs from the album, which again, super chill. It does have a line in it too about how he's facing 22 years. But then after this song, like the first 6 songs are genuinely perfect. And the way that it flows into each other is perfection. But then the next 6, I only go back to one song. From 7 to 12, the only song I go back to is the Serve It Anthem, which is an absolute banger. Super toxic as well, but I mean, the whole album is. We already established that. Serve It Anthem is a big banger, especially once that the beat kicks in and the chorus starts. It's also just like him saying like the way that you serve it is awesome. But then again, the songs like before that, like Feels with Chris Brown, Deceiving Eve, and Y'all Don't Look Right Together. Again, like they're decent, but they're just kind of boring. Like they're boring songs. Like he has some great quotables in them, but again, they're just too boring and too laid back. Where again, songs like Extravagant Bitches or Bullshit and Her, again, those are like fun, upbeat songs. And that's what I like about this mixtape. Like even A Lady of Neptune is a little bit slower, but again, just still has more going for it than the other songs. And then the last 2, again, are disappointing in my opinion. Shooby Da Whoop, what the hell, / One Last Breakup. Again, just, and then Don't Walk Away, Just Trust Me. Again, that song is like way too long, way too boring. So again, that's why I guess a 7 out of 5, because the first half of the album is, again, literally perfect. Like all 6 songs flow into each other. They all have the same, like obviously all songs have the same subject matter, but again, they just flow into each other. They use the same elements. Again, it's an actual experience. But then again, just that second half, it just drops in quality a little bit. So that's why I guess the number 4 spot and a 7.5 out of 10 rating. All right, and at number 3, the podium bronze medal spot. Don't know if this is me a hot take or not, but it's Tory Lanez 2025 album, Peterson. So this is, of course, the one and only first ever real-time album recorded in prison. And just showing that Tory Lanez ain't gonna stop. Now, this is generally my 3rd favorite Tory Lanez album. Now, I'm not obviously going to get into the case. Obviously, free Tory. I obviously believe that he is innocent. But at the end of the day, it's the music I care about. And this is honestly, like, Tory Lanez's incarceration has worked out for me as a Tory Lanez fan. Because, again, this is, in my opinion, one of his only, like, actual listenable albums from start to finish. This is genuinely such a thematic album and is such an enjoyable album to listen to from start to finish. Where, again, this is something I've mentioned on all the other albums on this list, is that from start to finish, they are not enjoyable listens, where this is like actually an album experience taking you through Tory's time in prison. Now, it gets off to, so we do have 20 songs in this album, which is very long, but 3 of them are just like interludes and intros and skits and stuff. So there's actually 17 official songs on this album. So that's like the intro, which is just like a bunch of mashed together news reports about Tory Lanez's incarceration. And then we get into the first official track, which is Free Me, which features a guy named Jack Quain. And also too, just quickly, like all the features, I swear like none of the features actually have verses. They just have like background vocals, or like there's the odd time like on Gangland X Argentina Forever where someone in Tory's family has like a verse at the end of the song. So the intro Free Me is one of the more popular streamed songs off the album. And I think it is a good album to kind of set the scene for what's about to happen. But I'm not that big of a fan of it. I don't really like the way that Tory raps on it. Again, it is very similar to the intro on Daystar, which is obviously the sequel to that album. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of the way that he raps, how long the song goes on for. Again, some great bars, some great quotables and stuff. But I'm also not the biggest fan of how the album actually starts off. With the first 4 official tracks, I rarely ever go back to any of these ones. Sneeze Wrong, White Lightning, and Guide Me Through the Storm are all just okay songs for me. Again, if I'm going to listen to the whole album, I'll run them. They're not really that bad. Again, I like Guide Me Through the Storm, where it has like kind of like the church choir singing in it, where there are a few other songs that feature the same church choir. These songs just kind of set the scene for the start of the album. But for me, the album really kicks on once you get to track number 6, Nine Side X Amethyst. So this is the most streamed song off the album with just under 10 million streams, and is definitely one of my favorites. So it starts off very smooth, very R&B at the start of the track. And then we get like a beat switch. And then, who is it? It's not Joe Rogan, it's Joe Budden. Yeah, that's it. Who comes in with a snippet from one of his podcasts where he says like, I will get into the Tory shit, but they go say I'm thirsty to get into the Tory shit, but I am thirsty. So yeah, that was like just funny. And then we get like a beat switch and then a bit more of like a unorthodox way that Tory raps in part 2, but it's still super fire. But yeah, that first part, especially when that beat kicks in, man, it's just so smooth and so catchy. But some great lines on this track, like one of the opening bars, bitch, I'm handsome, fathers grab your daughters. And then he also has another great one, if I can find it. Bitch, when I get out, you know I'm stepping into stardom. Whip is on Bruce Wayne stepping into Gotham. Like, that's just so freaking fire. But again, Tory always coming out with these. Bitch, when I get out, I'm stepping into stardom. He has so many bars like this about when he gets out, how he's basically going to go number 1. So yeah, this is a great track. And then it flows in beautifully to track number 7, Mawa Interlude X Lunch Tray. So it starts with like a 30-second intro from Max B calling from a jail phone. And then Tory Lanez just raps his ass off for like 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes. It's absolutely insanely, again, just like the bars that he says throughout here. And he does have a great bar where he says, they was thinking they send me to prison, somehow it would get me to stop. Which again that's basically, because also there is a conspiracy theory that, you know, he was sent to prison because of the record labels and stuff like Rock Nation and stuff. Because obviously Tory went independent and showed that record labels are basically redundant because of his NFT album that he made. So this is like the only line that he has that could be related to that. Where again, they thought saying in prison, we're going to stop making music, but he was like, nah, I'm gonna find a way to keep going. But again, it could also just be related to, you know, just haters in general. Because again, normally when a rapper gets sent to jail, it means they can't be making music. The only thing they're going to be able to release is stuff that they made before going into prison. But obviously, Tory Lanez cracked the code. I absolutely love this song. Again, Tory Lanez just raps his ass off. It's just a great track. And then the outro of like people singing "Free Tory" is great. And then again, it just transitions so smoothly into track number 8, which is Sailor Moon, which is such a great R&B track. And then so again, like it really just picks up when you get to Nine Side, because then basically every single song until the end of the album I like, bar like 1 or 2. So again, such a great run of 3 tracks there. And then we get Verdict Day X Lawyer Fees Interlude, which is a voice message that Tory got from a potential lawyer telling him about his fee, saying that his fee is a fixed fee of $900,000. And I'm like, oh my God, like I don't know what this guy would be doing, but $900,000, almost $1 million. He's charging that. But then obviously he goes into track number 10, appropriately titled Lawyer Fees, which is basically Tory rapping about how he doesn't have the money on him right now. He shouldn't be reminded, blah, blah, blah. Again, just a great track, one of the biggest hits off of that album. And then track number 11 is a big standout, which is Slipping X Falling. And this just has some great rapping and some great introspection from Tory Lanez. And also, of course, there was like some slipping and falling like DMX, trying not to fall off the BMX. And again, his verses just talk about his family, about his life, just great rapping, great introspection. And then there's also an interlude where, again, that church choir comes in and sings Slipping and Falling, which is absolutely amazing. So again, that run of tracks, man, from 6 to 11 is amazing. And then we get track number 12, Charlie Rowe X Wishing Well, which again, one of my least favorites. I don't mind the first part, which is Charlie Rowe, but then Wishing Well, I find it just kind of gets boring and drags on a little bit. Then we bounce back with Phone Sex X FaceTime, which again, you can literally get what this song is about. Phone Sex X FaceTime. First part is about having phone sex, and then the second part is them moving over to FaceTime. The chorus is literally Phone Sex got a 60/90, which again, I don't really understand how that works, but anyway. And then we get into track 14, TDF X LA County Jail. There's a lot of two-parted songs on this album, which I absolutely love. So the song starts off pretty decent, but then this song hits a whole nother level. Once you get that beat switch and head into the LA County Jail half, he just goes off, and his flow is insane. His voice too, man, is like just so deep, and it's insane. But then the end of this song leads in to my favorite part of the album, where you get to the outro, and then he goes, there's so much fucked up shit going on in this bitch, bro. Like, sometimes I feel like people forget, like, I'm not in regular prison. I'm in California prison. It's gangland. And then as he's saying that, like, this ominous beat is starting to build up in the background, and then he goes, it's gangland. And then that beat, like, hits. Then you just get this beat going over and over again. He just says, it's gangland. It's gangland, over and over again. And then it transitions beautifully into the next song, appropriately titled Gangland, where he just says gangland over and over again. And then the start of his verse is like the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. The way that he raps at the start of this song is insane. And again, Tory Lanez literally just raps his ass off for like 5 minutes in this song. So many great quotables throughout this track. And again, he does have one line where he's like, the day I get out, I'm gonna blow up so much that you can't even buy you a feature, which is a great bargain, just talking about how, again, when he gets out of here, like, he's gonna blow up. And again, we all know he is, bro. Like, he's gonna literally become like the new Michael Jackson or something. Like, his First Day Out song, he has a line like that too. I can't remember what song it is, but he has one where he says, my First Day Out song is gonna go #1. His like return tour is gonna be like sold out, which again, we all know that it is. And again, this is just insane. And then also Tory's son comes in and is like, free my daddy. Who is it that comes in? Wolfgang Peterson, which is someone that's related to Tory, who comes in with a great closer to the song. But yeah, man, Tory just steals the show with this, literally like 5 minutes of him just rapping his ass off. But then we get into track number 16, which is hands down my favorite song on the album. And that is, of course, I Fucked the Lady Cop. This is just Tory at his best. This is R&B Tory at his best. I love like the intro where it's like this, with this lady cop saying like, AOT, let me holler at you for a minute. Why don't we got no song for the lady cops? And then basically also like revealing in this song that he is smuggling in recording equipment. Like, that is how he's doing it. Because again, he's not recording over jail phone. Like, he's smuggling in recording equipment. And it's basically proved when he says, but we gonna need your equipment because you're not supposed to be recording in here. No way. But yeah, and then just, anyway, the first half of this song is like the catchiest, best R&B thing I've ever heard in my life. And then, yeah, just a great verse. And again, I just love like because again, it's all about like doing stuff in private, right? Like being in a room and nobody knows. But yeah, anyway, you just sort of starts like, I just want to pull up on your slide when you need it. Call me and I'll be around just to beat it. Sex good, I'm your best kept secret. I'm the one, I'm your best kept secret. Like, I love that part of the song. And then we get a nice beat switch that heads into the second verse, where again, this is where he's really talking about like nobody knows, like being in a room with people nobody knows. And then also just like the outro to the song is awesome, where he just says, and shawty, we can make love, shawty, take that uniform off. He just says that over and over again. And he just has the closing out lines to the song. And again, this entire song is really just about having sex, behind closed doors, not and people not knowing about it. Again, just being your best kept secret. But again, I absolutely love it. Just the way, just the smoothness to the first half of that song, and then just the calmness of the second part is absolutely amazing, and definitely the best song, in my opinion, my favorite song on this album, one of Tory's best R&B songs, and so underrated too. This song literally has like 1.5 million streams. Like, I don't get how more people aren't streaming this album, especially Tory fans, man. Like, it is absolutely amazing. And then the album gets off to like a decent end, a little bit weaker in my opinion, with songs like My Shayla, X Spice Rilla is not too bad. And then there's Back Outside, which I think it's Back Outside. Tory does have a great rapping performance in the first half, but in the second half, the song just kind of like slows down and kind of gets boring. And then you have TV's Interlude, which is just a live phone recording. And then we get the outro Free Tory, which is pretty similar to the intro, where Tory just kind of raps and sending you off on the album. But yeah, basically just to conclude, as I said, this is a very thematic album. One of Tory's few albums where you actually have an album experience from start to finish. Again, I've given this an 8.5 because, again, I like the majority of the songs on here. I go back to the majority of the songs on here. The experience from start to finish is great, but there still is a decent amount of songs that I don't go back to. So I feel like an 8.5 is exactly the right rating for it. And then also I just have to shout out like Tory's engineer and his producers and stuff, because the fact that they made an album this good with the artist being behind bars is absolutely insane. It also doesn't sound up to the exact same quality, but like the quality is still very good. And then also just the quality not being as good, it just adds to the overall theme of the album as well. Just making that experience even better, just knowing that this guy was literally in jail recording every single one of these songs. But yeah, overall, hands down, my third favorite Tory Lanez project. The whole incarceration and the trial just gave him so much more subject matter and new subject matter to talk about throughout this album. Again, one of my personal favorite Tory albums. I go back to this a lot. I think it was like a month or two. Like I was listening to this, like to the songs that I like on this album, like basically every day. And again, just like transitions from song to like LA County Jail to Gangland. Songs like I Fucked a Lady Cop, Lawyer Fee, Sailor Moon, Mawa Interlude, Nine Side, Slippin' and Fallin'. It's a good album. And I'm really hoping in the future Tory keeps making albums like these, because even though, again, there's still 5-6 songs I don't go back to, rarely that I go back to. Again, I want those album experiences. That's what I'm looking for in an album. And although, yes, we got an album like Slutty Bass, which was not a good album experience, but just a really fun album, like I'm fine with that, because that's what you were setting out to do with that. That wasn't supposed to be a good album experience like this album was supposed to provide, right? I don't want albums like a Sorry for What or a Love Me Now. I don't want to just get a few bangers out of an album. I want an actual experience, and that's exactly what this album gives you. So if you've not listened to it, please go and do it, because again, it's one of the most thematically pleasing rap albums you will ever listen to. All right, and at number 2 is, of course, Alone at Prom. Now, this album was always going to be near the top of the list. I think this is widely viewed as Tory Lanez's best project, definitely his best R&B project for sure. Released on December 10th, 2021. Unless you're Anthony Fantano, everybody likes this album. Of course, there was a deluxe release 2 years later, but did not come anywhere close to the quality of this album. Yes, there were a few good songs off of the deluxe, like the intro, Love on Acid / Prom King. There's also Hurts Me with Trippie Redd, which again I expressed was basically one of the leading reasons for why I ended up getting into Tory Lanez. And then Poison Ivy's great. And then also the interlude Splash Wave Repeat is also a pretty chill song. But we're here to talk about Alone at Prom. So obviously, again, when you look at, sales and where it charted, not very that well, right? 20-some thousand first week sales, which isn't really that great. But also when you think about it, that Tory, again, is an independent artist, this is actually really good. Because, again, you compare to every project he released before this, since being independent, like a Sorry for What, or I mean, basically everything after a Sorry for What, a Peterson, all did around the same. But then you just look at how well, like the majority of these songs have performed amazingly on streaming. There's just so many songs that everybody knows, like half of the songs on this album. Everybody loves this album. Everybody knows this album. It generally changed the rap game in a lot of ways. So let's get into it right away with the intro, Enchanted Waterfall. Now, this is hands down one of the most underrated songs on the album and one of my personal favorites as well. This is just a perfect intro to the album because it sets the scene perfectly. And obviously, this isn't a Talk to Me Nice / Fargo season. This isn't a Machiavelli. This isn't even an and. This is just the intro. But again, it's just perfect because it lets you know exactly what you're about to get into here with that 80s theme throughout this album. And then also, again, the focus of this track is Tory singing about love and his feelings of sadness, melancholy, knowing the girl he loves doesn't feel the same way for him anymore, which, again, is basically what this entire album is about. Obviously, Tory takes on this persona of Ashton Rain, basically just going through kind of like his love story throughout this album. And, again, I absolutely love this song. I think the chorus is great. Just setting that, again, just saying, like, again, that chorus, I'm still stuck on you. Just would you let me know? I can't take this heartbreak for so long. Little baby, won't you let me know? Because I'm still stuck on you. Like, yeah, it's just great. And then 2 great verses to pair up with this song as well. And yeah, hands down, just one of my personal favorites and such an underrated track on this album. He follows it up with Pink Dolphin Sunset, with the only song having a feature on it with T, who just has background vocals for the song. Again, another personal favorite of mine. Another one that isn't talked about enough. Again, just such a greatly paced song, great chorus, great verses, and again, just a nice 80s theme with that. And then track number 3 is Midnight's Interlude, which I personally love this song. I think this song is absolutely great, and it's especially the start of the song for me. The way that the beat just kind of like creeps in at the start, and then Tori comes in saying like, I can feel my heart again when I'm with you. And he says that a second time, then where he's like, the boys will always want the girls, the boys will always want the girls, the boys will always want, they'll always want the girls. And then just goes in where he says over and over again, why don't you want my love? Why don't you want me, baby? Why don't you want my love? Why don't you want me, baby? So he just repeats that over and over again. And it does get a little annoying by the end because he does say it over and over again a lot of times. But again, just that start of the song, and then when it first does get into his refrain of the why don't you love me, why don't you want me lines, it is really good. And again, I think it achieves exactly what he set out to doing. Then track number 4 is, of course, everybody's favorite Tory Lanez song, The Color Violet. Generally, hands down, just one of the best R&B tracks ever made. It's a perfect song in all accounts of it. And there's no way anybody could listen to that song and not like it. Like, I can get literally every other song on here, some people not liking it, but this is one song that just everybody and their grandma's gonna like this song. Again, obviously, Tory Lanez's most streamed song with well over like 1.4 billion streams or something. It might even be more than that now. It is, of course, the only song in Spotify history to ever surpass 1 billion streams without any playlisting, which, again, is just a massive achievement, and it's something that's never going to happen ever again. And again, unless Tory Lanez gets another song that reaches over 1 billion streams. But again, just proves that the industry is out to get Tory Lanez, and that Tory Lanez is bigger than the industry. The fact that he can still get a song over 1 billion streams without any playlisting, again, is just proof that this man actually makes music that people listen to. But again, there's not much to say about The Color Violet because we all know it. It was my second most streamed song last year, I think, with about like 120 plays, which is absolutely insane. Again, I love the song. Haven't actually been listening to it that much this year, but again, it's just an absolute bop. Not much to say about it because, again, we all know it and we all love it. That's followed up with Lavender Sunflower, which, again, is a personal favorite and a standout. I believe the second most streamed song, which that one has over 300 million streams, and was actually just certified platinum, along with the song Lady of Namek, which are the two other songs that blew up off of this album. Again, Lavender Sunflower, very chill. That, again, I would say next to The Color Violet is the most like accessible song where I think a lot of people would like it. Ballad of a Bad Man, again, great track. Again, just kind of progressing Tory, or this Ashton Raines persona's love story. Again, like this one does drag on a little bit. And then kind of like the repetitive like O's or whatever in the chorus do get a little bit annoying by the third time it plays. But other than that, it's still a great track. Then, of course, Lady of Namek, the lead-in single for the album. And I'm pretty sure this is the only song that actually has explicit lyrics in it. All the other songs do not have any explicit lyrics. So again, comparing it to something like Playboy, which dropped earlier in 2021, again, full of explicit lyrics, just talking about sex the entire time. And then this one, you get a very clean, very family-friendly album. But again, Lady in Namek, great track and a great song to put as a lead-in single, and the third most streamed song from the album. Number 8 is Pluto's Last Comment. This is another great track. That's followed up with 87 Stingray, which was the second lead-in single for the album. Again, another smash hit off this album. And then the last two songs, Hurt from Mercury and Last Kiss of Nebulon. These two songs I do not go back to nearly as much as the other ones, just because they're a lot slower than the other two. Again, they're still great tracks, and again, when you're listening to that album, it's awesome. But again, like just I don't like the chorus that much, like, why does it hurt so bad? And he just kind of says that over and over again. It's not my favorite chorus on the album, and again, it's just a lot more of a slower track compared to the others. And then Last Kiss of Nebulon is a great outro to sort of just set things over again. This is definitely the song I've played the least. I definitely want to run this one back again. But yeah, again, it's still a perfect album though, because again, they all just do their thing. And again, because this is an album experience. Like, Tory's actually telling a story with this album of this character, Ashton Rain, and just his love story of going through heartbreak. And again, it's just a very relatable album. A lot of these songs are great to listen to when you're sad, but also a lot of these songs are great to listen to when you're happy. Again, songs like Enchanted Waterfall, Pink Dolphin Sunset, Lavender Sunflower, Lady in Namek, Pluto's Last Comment, 87 Singer. Like, these are songs you can listen to when you're happy at the same time. So again, it's just such a versatile album. Great album for late night drives as well. And again, it's probably Tory Lanez's most notable album. You know, is, again, commercially didn't do that well, but impact, it had a lot of impact. And culturally, this album had a lot. Again, unless you're Anthony Fantano, everybody likes this album. Everybody likes certain songs off this album. Everybody knows certain songs off of this album. And again, my personal favorites are different from like because again, The Color Violet, Lavender Sunflower, and Lady in Namek were like the three songs that really blew up. But again, I just love that start. Like, I love Enchanted Waterfall, one of my personal favorites. Pink Dolphin Sunset's amazing. Like, those are honestly my top three. And then again, Midnight's Interlude, even though it's like this like 1 minute long track where he just kind of repeats the same line over and over again, I still rock with it a lot and think it fits on this album perfectly. But again, I think I kind of said all I needed to with this album. I don't want to spend too much time on it just because, again, like, we all knew that this one was going to be near the top of the list just because of how good of an album it is. So yeah, 10 out of 10 album. Tory Lanez' best R&B album, hands down. Such a great album experience from start to finish. And without further ado, let's get into the number one Tory Lanez album. So, of course, before we get into the number one spot, we have to do some honorable mentions because, of course, I did not include every album on here. So the two honorable mentions I have up on screen right now is Memories Don't Die and Daystar. So Memories Don't Die being Tory Lanez' sophomore studio album. Daystar, of course, we spoke about earlier, being his return to being an independent artist, and of course his response to the whole Megan Thee Stallion situation. Memories Don't Die, my first time listening to it, I was very disappointed. Going through it again, there was a couple decent tracks and just not really anything that I wanted to go back to. The first official track, Same Friends, Old Foes, I think that's what it is a good track. And then obviously Shooters is a banger. And then there's a couple other songs, like Hate to Say is a great one to listen to, where again, he just talks about a lot of other artists in the industry and stuff. Has a bar about like Travis Scott, talks about Drake, talks about his feature with Meek Mill. Great track to listen to. And then one of the ones near the end, he talks about the day where he found out that his mother had passed and is obviously very emotional. And then also the song that features 50 Cent is probably the best storytelling I've ever heard in a song ever. Like, I was building a Lego set while listening to this album, and while this song was playing, I generally just had to stop and just listen to what he was saying because this story was so well told and so like such an attention-grabbing story as well. And then 50 Cent came on to this thing. But again, Tory Lanez, man, like, just some of the best storytelling I've ever heard in a song, that I've ever heard in a song on that song. And then also the song with Future was great as well. But the only thing with that one was Tory's best verse came right at the end. And low-key, I don't know why I said it was a great song, because low-key wasn't. It was definitely a letdown. I was hoping for more with a Future feature. But then Tory's last verse on that song was like insane. But again, I'm not sitting through this boring, lackluster song just to get to this one verse. So again, all in all, Memories Don't Die was very disappointing for me. Again, might be a hot take because I know there was a lot of people that rock with that album. But again, for me, it was very disappointing. Then obviously Daystar. Again, Tory Lanez talks about his situation a lot, talks about Megan a lot. But of course, the sequel, Peterson, as it was ranked at number 3, a lot better than this album. Again, bar from a couple of tracks, like, there's not much to really go back to. I like Solar Drive at Night. Again, just a great R&B track there. Again, the intro, very similar to what would become the intro on Peterson. But again, other than a couple of tracks, like, there's not really much to go back to from this album. And I also did briefly speak about Alone at Prom Deluxe when talking about Alone at Prom. Again, the Deluxe just, again, apart from a couple other tracks, just didn't come anywhere close to the quality of what was the first album, the original Alone at Prom. Obviously, this was released after Tory's incarceration. So again, it was just a bunch of music that he had made prior to being locked up. I also did order the vinyl for this album as well, which I've literally been waiting for months. Like, it's not supposed to ship till the end of July, and that was pushed back. So again, I swear to God, if it gets pushed back again, I'm probably just going to cancel my order, but I really do want the Alone at Prom vinyl. But anyway, that's it for the honorable mentions. Let's get into what I consider to be Tory Lanez' best album. And at number 1 is I Told You, Tory Lanez' debut studio album. Now, you can see right now that I have this at an 11 out of 10. This is genuinely the greatest album I've ever listened to, and I've listened to a lot of music. I don't even know where to start with this album. Obviously, being Tory Lanez' debut studio album, released on August 9th, 2016. Did pretty well sales-wise, sold just over 50,000, debuted within the top 10. Did pretty decent commercially, just bought the vinyl as well off of eBay. Most expensive vinyl I've ever bought, but I just had to get my hands on it. And this album tells the story of Tory Lanez' life from the year 2008 to about 2015, 2016, when he got signed at Interscope Records. Now, this album has a total of 14 tracks and a total of 0 features. So it is just Tory Lanez throughout this entire album, and I absolutely love it. Such a nice mix of the rapping and the R&B on this album, just showing everything that Tory Lanez can do. All 14 of these songs are absolutely amazing. As Tory Lanez' most known song and his breakout hit single, of course, that being Say It. And then also another big song, that being Love. But so many better songs came out of this album. And again, just one of the greatest album experiences you will ever experience. One of the greatest album experiences you will ever experience in your life. And that is because this album is literally a movie. After every single song, a skit plays that furthers the development of Tory's story. And then all the songs also, again, actually fit in with that story, actually progress the story. Like, I love albums like this. I've never heard another album like this. Again, you can look at Tyler, the Creator, who makes a lot of story-driven albums. Of course, something like Wolf or Igor having a story that goes throughout it. And one like Igor, again, does have skits that play, but not after every single song, only after every few songs. And again, Tyler's the best kind of artist to compare it to. Also, there is like Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar as well. I've never listened to that album, but I hear that one's kind of pretty similar to what Tory did with this one. And without further ado, let's just hop into it. So it starts off with the intro, I Told You / Another One, which is one of the hardest songs I've ever listened to in my life. So it starts off with a skit of Tory Lanez saying, American raised, Canadian born. My name is Daystar Peterson. One day I'm going to be the biggest artist in the whole world. As for right now, though, the year is 2008. I'm 16 years old. This is where my story begins. So then it heads into a pretty lengthy skit of Tory's aunt kicking him out of the house, basically just saying that she's done. Tory's disrespectful. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't cook. He doesn't clean. He won't even go get a job. Talking about how he thinks his street life's going to pay off. And then she's just saying, I'm just waiting to get the call to come identify your body. I'm telling him to go to a job, bringing up the music thing, and then just saying, go get a job. And then just saying, like, I'm done. I'm sorry you lost your mom, but I can't take this anymore. Get the fuck out. And then it gets into the hardest verse of all frickin' time, that being his opening verse to the opening song, I Told You / Another One. Now, this song is literally, when you take out the skits, it's about like 6 minutes long, very similar in length to Talk to Me Now / Fargo Season. Again, it's a very similar song where Tory just raps his ass off for 6 minutes straight. 4 amazing verses, a great chorus on here as well. And again, just setting the scene perfectly. So the album starts off with him saying, it's the year 2008, I'm getting kicked out of the crib, steady contemplating where the fuck I'm about to live. Mama died the same year my sister had a kid. It was either feed the fam or get killed. So I said, fuck it. 5 of us putting up for one room, landlord straight bugging, roaches on the ceiling, living room straight thugging. Should have been left, but the trap stayed bunking. And then again, in this opening verse, he has some other great lines, like, I got a ring so big, call that shit big time. She don't want to fuck me, man, that bitch a lion. Teachers call me stupid, now I'm stupid with the flow. Again, it's just some great stuff. And then it hops into part 2 being another one. Again, the chorus is literally just him saying, I told you, I thought I told you all, I know I'm gonna get mine. And then he hops in again, 2 absolutely insane verses where he just raps about his life and everything. But then the beat changes and we go into verse number 4, which is this where the story then progresses, where he says, it's the year 2009 and I done found myself a crib. I ain't got no dough, but I done found myself a bitch. Now this flows perfectly into the short skit that plays at the end of this song, where Tory Lanez says the following. I was fucked up. I had nowhere to go. I had moved in with my girl. You know, she kept it realer than a lot of my boys. She wasn't much, but she was mine. The guns and the roses. And then track number 2, appropriately titled Guns N' Roses, plays, where this is literally just a love song about his girlfriend. And then Guns N' Roses, not talking about the band, but talking more about like through the good and the bad and the ugly, trials and tribulations, sickness and health. Like saying, I'm going to love you through all the good parts and all the bad parts. That's what Guns N' Roses mean. So a great R&B song in this one. Definitely some better R&B cuts to come later on. But again, just a great start to kick it off. And again, literally doing a 180. You're going from Tory rapping bar after bar to singing his heart out. That's literally what this album is. So then the skit plays at the end of that where Tory's with his girl, but his friends are yelling at him to come downstairs and that they're ready to go. And then Tory's girl's like, oh, do you have to go? And Tory's like, yeah, I gotta go. Just keep your phone on. I'll be back later. So then track number 3 starts, that being Flex. Now this is an absolute banger. This is like Bad Bitches Work at Taboo type banger. The chorus is just infectious, dude. Like, it's so catchy and it just gets your attention flowing as well. And I also love the opening line of his first verse where he says, being broke was the reason why all these females would pass on me. And so this song is already just about a party. And then the skit plays at the end of Tory and his buddies leaving the party. And then, so yeah, all his boys are like, oh man, I've never knew a party like that in my life. That was so lit, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, and then Tori's buddy that drove them there is like, I know y'all about to ask me for a ride, and this is how it's going to be. $5 gas. And then all Tori's buddy's like, nah, not today, man. Come on. But then Tori's buddy's like, but Tori, you're going to have to run me that 10 though, because your girl, she just lives too far away. And then Tori's like, nah, come on, man. Like, can't be doing that. And he's like, I'm doing this music thing. Then Tori's buddy's like, music? Man, I'm talking money. And then Tori comes and he's like, I'm not going to live with my girl forever, man. But then he's like, nah, you know what? Fuck it. Here's what we're going to do. Fuck my girl. I'm getting active with the homies tonight. And we're going to listen to my music. That's what we're going to do. So Tori puts his music into the CD player. We get a little sound effect of, someone putting music into a CD player. And then track number 4, To Dream, starts. Now, this is hands down one of my personal favorite songs on the album. It has a great sample in it, 2 amazing rapping verses from Tory Lanez, and then a great chorus in there as well, which is basically Tory just saying that all I had to do was dream, basically saying to get out of the situation he was in, all he had to do was dream. And then there's also such a nice outro, which is so dreamy and just amazing, just gets me floated every time that outro plays. So song ends, the next skit plays, and then basically Tory's buddy is like, oh man, that was actually pretty fire. And then Tori's like, look, man, I know I can get my music off the ground. I just need to touch some money. And then Tori's buddy's like, money? Well, get this. I got this flex. Now, basically what a flex is like a home robbery. And then he basically tells Tory about this place that he's been watching on the east side, a Chino crib. Now, I'm pretty sure what a Chino crib is, just a house that has an illegal gambling room in it. Because whenever me and the boys go to the casino, we call it the Chino. I assume that's what it is. But then what he says next doesn't really make any sense, because he says that he's been watching it for 2 weeks and they go to sleep every night at 1. So then they pull up at around 2. I don't know what type of gambling room be closing at 1 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, so then Tori's like, all right, let's do it. But as long as I'm back to my girl's house by like 4, she's living with her mom. So anyway, then we get into track number 5, of course, titled 4 a.m. Flex. Now, this entire song is literally about Tory and his buddies doing the 4 a.m. flex. So the first half of the song is this very like dark and gloomy verse like that. The beat on this song is so dark. Tory raps in such a dark voice. I'm pretty sure he's rapping about like his girl, just saying how like he feels comfortable leaving all like his drugs and his money with her, and he'll leave it around 4 a.m. I do find this part goes on a little bit long, and it's just so unique the way that he raps and the beat that he's rapping over. And then this is also the only song where a skit plays in the middle of it. And this was a touch that I love that Tory did, where basically, apart from the intro, all the skits play at the end of the song, which is great for the people that don't want to listen to the skits. They can just cut it, or skip it, Now, for me personally, I love listening to the skits because it just adds so much to the overall experience. And it only adds about like 10 to 12 minutes to the runtime, so it's not really that bad. Because again, the album already is over an hour long, so what's another 10, 12 minutes? But then also on Apple Music and Spotify, they have a version where they separate all the skits from the songs, where I love that they did that too, because then on my playlist, I have that version of the songs listened to it. So if I just want to listen to a specific song, or if it comes on shuffle in my playlist, I don't have to worry about sitting through the skit or skipping the skit. And then when I want to listen to the album from start to finish, I obviously run it with the skits. So anyway, getting back into the song, the skit plays for 4 a.m. Flex, and this is Tory and his buddy actually doing the robbery. So unfortunately, the dude wakes up as they're doing the robbery. So they run out the front door, get in their car, and drive away, but not before the owner of the house would come out and fire off multiple shots. And then we hear glass breaking. So then we get into part 2 of the song, which is probably is Tory's greatest verse on this song. The way that he raps, like he's never rapped like this ever again. And I've never heard another rapper rap the way that he raps on this song. It's absolutely insane. I would love to hear Tory rap about it. And my only problem with this verse is it's not long enough. It lasts for like 50 seconds. Like, Tory, you need at least another 20 seconds rapping with this flow, man. And I'm literally going to read out the entire verse because it's absolutely insane. And again, it's about the exact situation, progressing the storyline. So he says, me and the homie pull off the corner inside of an old Honda Accord. The feeling felt like a torture. The guy that we just robbed just popped on his shoulder, lets me pull in over to check him and tell him, dog, take the passenger seat and I'll hit the road because it's way too many police out here to feel like we low. My back windshield broke and the driver's seat soaked from the blood that was previously leaking from his coat. We switched sides while I put this shit to drive at 80 some odd miles. I'm shifting the gear to 5, hoping that them 5-0 pigs don't see the ride because normally I ain't scared. Tonight there's fear in my eyes. My phone blinking because my girl at home clinging and unaware of the problem this night on the road bringing. Then I pick up the phone and tell her I'm speeding home as soon as I drop my dog off of the emergency room. So again, just an absolutely great verse. Obviously, he raps it a lot better than how I just read it off. But then Tory literally just drops his buddy off on the side of the street because he didn't want to go to the hospital, because obviously if you go to the hospital with a gunshot wound, the cops are going to be involved. So Tory literally just drops him off on the side of the road, calls his girl, says, I'm speeding home, and then telling her to stay awake. He's like, I love you, hangs up the phone, and then the next track plays Friends with Benefits. Now, this is one of my personal favorites. You can see I do have it in the top 3. Now, this album is so good that there's generally at least 6 songs that you could argue could be in the top 3, in the top 3, and Friends with Benefits is a song that grew on me a lot. Like, I loved it the second I listened to it, but then after like my 8th or 9th play, like I really got into this song. Now I'm really into it. Like, generally, it's definitely my favorite R&B track on the album. You kind of get the gist of what the song is about on the title being Friends with Benefits. The opening lines of the song is really, I want to get them draws from you, speeding from the law for you. So again, linking up to the last song, and then we fuck like friends with benefits. So that's really what the song is about. But it's absolutely amazing. Again, when the beat kicks in, when he's saying, I'm just fine. So yeah, the pre-chorus is absolutely amazing, where he's like, all night with your hands high, screaming, fuck them girls, on the other side. Then he says that a second time, and then we get the verse, and then the refrain, and then we go into the chorus, and yeah, it's just such a great track. And then the final verse on the song is the bridge, is absolutely insane, where he's like, I can't just let you go, you're all that's on my mind, I wasted time, I know, wish I could just rewind. And then just plays that chorus one last time. Again, it's such a greatly paced song. It's such a great R&B performance from Tory. And this is also the only song on the album that does not have a skit that plays at the end of it. Yeah, it's the only song that doesn't have a skit that plays at the end, and it just goes straight into the song Cold Hard Love, which is another R&B track about his girlfriend. Again, it's like almost as good as Friends with Benefits. It's a great track, but almost as good. So then the skit on this one is not that long. It's just a quick monologue from Tory where he says, after a little robbery attempt on the east side went bad, it was best to lay low. I kicked it at my girl's house that whole night. The plan was to smoke weed and get high. Little did we know that plan was soon to be cut short. So then it would transition to the next song titled High, which is a song literally about getting high on marijuana. But what I love about this track is that it's a song about getting high. It's called High, and Tory is singing in a high-pitched voice. Again, I just love little touches like that, where again, people are going to obviously realize that, hey, he's singing with a high voice, but some people might not make that connection, where he's singing in a high voice because the song is called High, and he's singing about getting high. I just love stuff like that. Again, another great track on here. And then the skit plays at the end of the song, which also has another touch that I like. So Tory's phone rings, he picks it up, realizes it's one of his friends. So first thing he says is, yo, I'm with my girl, what do you want? So then Tory's buddy comes on and says, remember that house that I hit up on the east side? But this is the touch that I love, because he said, remember the house I hit up, but he hit it up with Tory. So instead of saying, remember the house that we hit up and get him in trouble with his girl, he says, remember the house I hit up, just to saving him from getting in trouble with his girl, which again shows he's a good friend and all that. So basically, they say that one of their boys got shot up by the dudes that they robbed, so they have to go, give them payback. And then Tory's girls in the background like, what does this have to do with you? Say no, like blah, blah. So then Tory tries to get out of it. He's like, yo, I'm with my girl, so I'm not trying to do this right now. But then Tory's buddy's like, yo, either you come and see us or we come and see you. And these are not people you don't want these people to come and see you. So Tory obviously ends up having to agree and goes to link up with his buddies. And then the next song, Dirty Money, plays, the 9th song on the album. So it starts off with the first part, which has a verse by Tory where he repeats the same couple of lines twice, and then it's very calm, with this very calm beat where he says, money on my mind all the time, slanging, selling, people telling, catching feelings on the low, friends switching different women with you every night, whoa, praying, sinning, praying that the Lord take my soul. So he says that a second time, again, just an absolutely great opening to the song. And then it switches into part 2 where the real song starts, the beat really kicks in, chorus starts up where Tory says, dirty money, all I know is dirty money, that my brother, but he down to murder someone, Jay my brother, but he down the way. And then the pre-chorus is one of my favorite parts, where it builds up to the hardest beat drop in rap history, where he says, it's dirty and I don't know where it came from, it's dirty and I don't know where the name from. And then my favorite bar on this line is when he says, and touching millies ain't gonna change where we came from. And he's like, I can't let no FNs around me. I just love that bar, because again, touching millies ain't gonna change where you came from. And then we get into the song, verse 2, where he says, my little boy got a problem, we gonna go to work. I bent that quarter in that 7, I was smoking perp. And then that beat drop hits and you just go absolutely insane in the car. And then another one of my favorite bars when he's like, he nearly fell out the whip. I had to hold his shirt. Absolutely insane. But again, just this whole song is just about dirty money and just the way of, the street life and all that. But yeah, one of the hardest beat drops ever. And again, you have to wait literally 2.5 minutes to get to the beat drop, but it is so worth it. It is definitely worth it, especially because of that intro. It lasts about a minute and 30 seconds. But again, just the things he's saying are very facts and just awesome to listen to. So then skip plays at the end, and then this is Tory and his buddies actually doing a drive-by shooting. So they drive by the dude's house, they pop a bunch of shots, and they drive away. And then Tory says to his friends something along the lines of, you guys got to feel some type of way about this. Like, at some point, we have to leave this behind. So then it gets into track number 19, Question Is, which is the song that Tory Lanez says is his personal favorite off the album because it's his most personal song on the album. And again, it 100% is. Some of his best rapping and songwriting are on here. The chorus is a sample from a song by the artist Brianna Cash, where it's like, question is, can you ever forgive me for the way I love you? And then Tory comes in. His opening line of this song is literally saying that my shorty had an abortion for me like 3 times. Now, first, how are you saying like 3 times? Like, is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? And also, how are you having an abortion with the same girl 3 times? Like, come on. And then he has a line later on where he's like, if I never have a kid again, I'd be pissed, but I'd understand. Again, just saying because of his old ways. But again, just 2 absolutely amazing verses from Tory on this song, or 3 verses, sorry. Again, just very personal, great songwriting, all of that. Good jazz. Again, this is another one that's contention for best song on the album. I don't have it in my top 3 because I don't go back to it as much as the 3 songs that I do have listed as my top 3. And then we get into the skit where a woman sings the following. You say that you love me, but you're still in these streets. All that hustling leads to nothing. It's time for you to leave because you're still out in these streets. All that hustling leads to nothing. And then this flows in perfectly to an unfortunate call that Tory would get from his girlfriend, and this would be breaking up with him. So again, obviously the classic breakup voicemail in a song, but I mean, Tory low-key topped it with the skit at the start of him getting kicked out. That tops the girlfriend breakup any day of the week. But again, basically just saying, she says, I want to let you know that I'm walking away from the situation. I just feel like I've tried it and tried. It's just, I can't get through to you. And I feel like you love this lifestyle more than you love me. Just pray that you take care of yourself and be safe out there. I love you. And then we get this ominous beat that plays before Tory comes in with a little monologue where he says, at this point, I know what to do. Couldn't go back to my girl's house, and I for damn sure wasn't going back to the hood. I had less than $1 in a dream, and I was flooding down Loner's Boulevard. Now, it flows into the next song, of course, titled Loner's Boulevard, which is my personal favorite song on this album. And what honestly it is for me is the piano. The piano on this song is freaking beautiful. There's 2 interludes where the piano just plays for about 30 seconds. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my life. So the intro is Tory singing, you got your mind rocked, rolling down Loner's Boulevard, you've got dreams, keep on dreaming. Now his verses on here are absolutely insane. Now this song is Tory now basically actually starting pursuing his dream of becoming a rapper. I'm literally going to read out the lyrics for this entire song because it is absolutely amazing. So it starts off with, high school team never got accepted, guess didn't go how I expected. Now I'm pissed, steady looking at the bottom of the list, like where the fuck are my projections? My boys would be like, next year, Tory, it's all good, you'll be next year's story. Then I say, man, you don't even understand. I'm dropping out now when there ain't no next year for me. Now, I absolutely love this bar where he rhymes story with for me, where his friends are like, it's all good, you'll be next year's story. Then he's like, man, you don't even understand. I'm dropping out now. There ain't no next year for me. Just absolutely insane. Like, whoever said rap music isn't poetry. But anyway, then he's like, so I left. Bus route to the bench down 53. Took the last $1 that I had for this dream, and I spent it on some 99-cent Mickey D's. Shit wasn't doing too fine. Then I made a call to this guy named Ribes. Said he had a little studio and it wasn't top notch, but could damn near do the whole 9. Again, rhymes with 9 is insane. So I said, cool, made a few songs in this shit. Stayed too long in this shit. But by about a month, man, I was there so much they had to lay a futon in this shit. Owe it to my Aunt Suzanne. Drove me to my first shows in a new Jetta. Always said one day I'll be the man. I would just laugh like, who are you telling? Me? I'm gonna go far. I could still dream in this world full of stars. I could still scheme in this world full of narcs. If they could still scheme them, I'll mark cars. So I'm a dream, I'm a dream. I'm a dream like you said to me. Best words that were said to me. That's my favorite part. Everything from after he says, owe it to my Aunt Susan, where he's like, she always said one day I would be the man. I would just laugh like, who are you telling? And then it's like, I'm a dream like you said to me. Best words ever said to me. Just absolutely my favorite part of the song. And then it goes in to the beautiful instrumental. And then we get into verse number 2, where it starts with 10 long miles from a long way home. I'm headed downtown because I'm working on this little mixtape. No fillers, no throwaway songs. Now, I did say that I'm pretty sure he's talking about the new Toronto here, but again, it might also be too late for that because that dropped in 2015. I don't know if he's at 2015 yet. But anyway, moving on, he says, hoping that this shit just goes. Sadly for me, the shit didn't. So I make another mixtape and another mixtape and another mixtape until they finally start saying shit's hitting. Then I meet a guy named Sasha, tell me he's thinking about taking up management. Say he's got $1 million empire on his mind. He just needs an artist to plan it with. He also say he throws shows out in Texas. Maybe I should open up for one. I say, cool, man. He books me the next fight out like I'm showing up or something. I landed in Houston around 9. Warehouse Live was my worst show ever. I damn near got booed off on stage. I performed like it was my first show ever. Women in the crowd wouldn't scream for me. Boys in the crowd, they was cotched up down. Bad enough, let Bun B watch, but I felt like I let Sasha down. This shit was live on stage, dog. That night, I felt like I had the whole world on my shoulders. 20 years old, trying to find a warm spot in this world getting colder. Then he came to me like, dog, I could put money on this, bet 100 on this. Gives me a few tips for the next night's set list. Says, dog, you write it on this, and it all works out. And then it flows into the chorus, again, the instrumental. And that's just I just love that part where he's like, gives me a few tips for the nice set list. Says, dog, you go right on this, and it all works out. Because it all did. And then there's the outro where he says, it's a big world. The bigger you dream, the bigger you're living it. It's all in your mind. Don't let nobody fuck up your high. He says that a second time. Again, linking back to the song, again, to dream, just talking about where all he had to do was dream. And here saying that the bigger you dream, the bigger you're living it. It's all in your mind. Don't let nobody fuck up your high. And then we get a phone voicemail from his father. I assume from jail because the quality is so bad. Again, just saying, lift up my son, very spiritual voicemail. Then it gets into the song or the skit where Tory Lanez gets a phone call. This one, a much better one because it is an executive from Interscope Records telling Tory that he finally got around to listening to his music and he's blown away and that he wants to set up a meeting with Tory. So they set up one for Friday and then the guy's like, all right, I got to run. Talk to you soon. So then phone call ends, but then we actually stay on the side of the executive. And then a second guy comes in to the picture and he's like, hey, Mike, you really think this guy can make hit records? And then Mike, the guy that called Tory, was like, honestly, the music speaks for itself. So then the other dude's like, all right, let's see what he's got. So then they put in one of Tory's records and then the song All the Girls Play. Now, this is hands down the most basic song on the album, but that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be showing again that Tory can make these radio hits, these big hit singles. But even though it's like quote unquote basic, it's still an absolutely amazing song. And I just love the chorus again, because the chorus is literally, out of all the damn girls in the world, I done ended up with you. After all the bad bitches in the world, I done ended up with you. And I still dwell on the girls, but I know it's true. And then, blah, blah. It's just one of those things. Out of all the damn girls in the world, I done ended up with you. So that's, again, what the whole song is about. But I just love the chorus when it really starts, where he's like, I want to love tonight, blah, blah, blah. I want to kill tonight, like all that stuff. Like, anyway, it's just a great R&B track all around. And then the skit plays at the end of the song, where it's a monologue from Tory, where he's like, it seems like things are finally adding up. I got my music in the right hands and the right people. They signed me to Interscope. It was finally that moment. Big boy, you making hit records. First record I made was this. And then the beat for Say It plays. This is hands down like the best part of the album, because like you go through this journey with Tory Lanez. You feel like you just went through everything that he did, and him finally getting to that moment of getting his record deal. Like you feel that. And then again, just knowing what Say It did for his career, again, being his breakout hit single, and again, just flowing into that song absolutely beautifully. And then that beat plays, and then Tory sings, and then the chorus starts and the sample. It's just, it's absolutely amazing. So then, again, I'm not going to speak about that song for too long, just because, again, we all know, we all love it. Tory Lanez's second most streamed song with almost 800 million streams at this point. And then we get the skit that plays, which this is like hands down my favorite skit, because I absolutely love it, where it's this lady named Angela, who is a reporter at a fictional award show, where she says, we are live here at the red carpet at the award show. I'm Angela Smith, and we have Tory Lanez walking up. Tory, over here. Can we get a second with you? Tory comes, I was like, yo, what's poppin'? What's good? Then Angela says, Tory, you had an incredible year. You just went platinum. What's next for you? Now, obviously, at the time, Tory Lanez was not platinum, but he would later go platinum in 2018 with, of course, Say It, then again with Love, and then now with songs, of course, like The Color Violet, Lavender Sunflower, Lady in a Mech, and then also he went platinum in 57 Seconds with his NFT album, but anyway, we'll get into that. And then Tory says, I'm about to drop my album. Everything is good. Then Angela says, so before we introduce your next single, is there anything you would like to say to the world? And then Tory goes, I would like to tell the world I told you. And and he does like a little laugh like that. Again, I just love that part because again, it's the title of the album, it's the chorus of the intro, it's the name of the intro. Again, Tory told everybody he was going to make it, and he would like tell the world that I told you. And then Angela goes, haha, well, introduce your new single. And Tory goes, this is your boy Tory Lanez. This is my brand new single, Love. And then, of course, Love starts playing. And then at that point, also, the the beat for Love had started playing like lightly in the background. And then that song starts playing. And then also, Love is actually my least favorite song on the album. I rarely go back to that one. Like, I usually stop listening to the album after Say It. It's just my least favorite song. I don't really rock with sort of like the dance hall type track that it is. It's still a good song, though. And then, again, just... It's a perfect album. 11 out of 10. It's literally a movie. If you haven't listened to it, please go do it. It's hands down Tory Lanez's best album. He's never going to make an album better than this. Not saying that he's obviously not going to make great albums because he just made an amazing album with that being Peterson, released last year. You can definitely do albums to that quality, maybe in a little bit better. Just this is a movie. You can tell that Tory cared about literally every single aspect that went into this album. Just some of the best songwriting, some of the best rapping, some of the best singing you'll ever hear from an artist, such a versatile artist, such an underrated artist. Hands down the best album I've ever listened to, and it's tied for my favorite album of all time with Life's a Trip by Trippie Redd. I absolutely love this album. Like I listen to the album as a full like multiple times a month, certain songs like damn near every single day. It's a great album. But yeah, that's basically going to leave it there. So anyway, let me know if you guys agree, disagree, what you think I did wrong about this album. I just went through the entire story of I Told You. It took me damn near 30 minutes talking about this album to go through its story. But again, it's worth it. And again, it's even better when you listen to it because Tory Lanez is the artist here. I'm just talking while he's giving it his all. So yeah, that's going to be it for this. I Told You, Tory Lanez, best album.